What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another brand new episode of the Last Wave podcast, the long-awaited return episode. Everything going on with this pandemic is just so crazy, and everything with work schedules, family schedules have been so crazy. But we're trying to get back into it, trying to get some kind of semblance of normality within our schedules. Definitely check us out on our blog. We're putting up new stuff there every week. The Facebook page, of course, another great way to find out what we're up to. But basically, if you're new to the show, we cover everything that's paranormal, UFOs, conspiracies, cryptids, nerd stuff, pretty much anything you could shove under the paranormal umbrella. We covered a little bit. We also do some tech news and some nerdy stuff, but I more leave that to the blog and the blog articles for people to read that and that way we're not mixing too much stuff because we already have quite enough under the paranormal umbrella to keep us busy. So this was going to be a shorter episode, just one of the short waves. But the couple stories I have for us today are extremely random, and I thought it'd be fun just to go into them in a little bit more detail. So instead of doing a short wave, we'll do more of a normal episode, not an hour long episode, but just enough to go over these couple stories I found through research over the last, I don't know, just last month or so, probably. So we'll jump right in. The first one is something that popped up one of the websites that we researched. It's kind of an underground website. They have cool stories, but you don't know what's true or not, which I guess that's true for anything nowadays. But anyway, our first story today is about the iceberg that killed the Titanic. And when you think you've heard everything you could have about the Titanic at this point, it would appear that we have not. And apparently, a picture has surfaced that many are saying could show the very iceberg that did the ship in. Apparently, the grainy black and white photo, which is really stunning, by the way, I'll try to put it up on our Facebook or link to it in the description. It was taken by Seaman W. Wood. He was a photographer while serving as captain. He was a captain, and he was also a very good photographer. And he was serving on board the SS Etonian on the 12th of April in 1912. Now, of course, there's no way to verify this, but it is very interesting. It's a really striking image, and it would be clearly be an incredible coincidence. But the craggy iceberg certainly looks like it would be able to carve up any vessel that really goes past it. It's super jagged, super strong, super scary looking, to be honest. But just a really intriguing little story that popped up. I mean, the way they think that this is the possible iceberg is basically this ship was on the same route, more or less just a short while before the Titanic actually came through. They took a picture of this massive iceberg. Now, again, proving that is impossible, but it's a pretty cool story. It's very interesting to hear that and to think that that's even possible that we could have found the iceberg that destroyed the Titanic. But either way you slice it, I don't know. I just thought that was pretty cool. Thought I'd include it in the episode, and we'll move on to our more main story. And this is one of the most wild stories that I have heard, and that is more well documented than you would really expect. So this case takes us all the way back to the days of the settlers. And this is called the Red Ghost, the Red Rider, anything along those lines. It was seen by many different people, so of course, everyone's going to come up with their own name for it. But the entity that we're going to call the Red Ghost, there was multiple sightings by people living in Arizona, in the countryside of Arizona. In the 1890s, they started reporting a huge beast that was terrorizing the countryside. It was said to be a huge animal ridden by the devil himself. But basically, the story, or some of the first accounts, one of the first accounts, was actually recorded in a local newspaper, and it started on a small farm. During the evening hours one night, a lady of the home was out bringing in the laundry from the line when she was brutally attacked. The woman's husband, who was off in the fields, hears her screams and returns to find his wife on the ground, sadly in apparently dire straits and an extreme mess of her own body. It was stated by the witness that it appeared if the poor woman had been trampled by a herd of cavalry. Now, that was her husband's own description. I can't imagine how terrible that would be. But more or less, he returned home, found his dead wife outside, basically trampled to death. Now, it gets even stranger because there was another woman in the family, the sister in law, and she was in the home. Now, she claims that she actually saw this creature. She could hear it coming first, just like almost like thunder, she described it. But she heard it from the window, or she went to the window when she heard the scream, and she stated to the late woman's husband that the beast was massive. It was black, red, had rotting flesh, and it was ridden by the devil himself. So, again, pretty crazy description of anything that would be just roaming the countryside. But incensed with anger and just sadness, the husband uh, gathers up a little bit of help, and him and another man go out to hunt this animal. They track it by its abnormally large prints to a small cabin, where they are informed by another witness that uh, they had also seen the beast. It basically the same details, but also adds that the beastly entity leapt from a canyon lip and seemed to fly. The settler basically said that they tracked the animal themselves to the edge of a canyon and saw it leap over the edge. Now, of course, it could be embellishment. People see things when they're in distress or when they're scared. Things can be mistaken. But this is what the man said. The man said that he saw it fly off the edge of a canyon. Basically, the two men continued to hunt and track the animal. Sightings continued throughout the area, and again, these are actually recorded in newspapers of the time. The hunters find more and more people who claim to have seen the thing. Some state that it has wings. Some say it's 20 to 30 feet tall, and one even stating that they saw it eat or kill and eat a grizzly bear. And again, this all seems rather hard to believe, but was terrifying nonetheless, especially to the settlers and townspeople of that time. The hunters continued and even say that they camped one night and the beast had surely surrounded them. They reported strange noises and something trampling near the camp. So they expected that they were actually possibly the ones being hunted now. But eventually, after a few days on the hunt, they came across a large opening with a small creek running through it. And across the opening, they could see a massive animal lurking in the distance behind some shrubbery. The men raise and fire their rifles into the animal as it runs away from them, letting out a horrible, blood curdling shriek. And once the beast finally falls, after rounds and rounds of rifle ammo, the beast falls to the ground. The men rush over and are even more shocked than they expected at what they find. At their feet lay a very large and now deceased camel. That's right, it was a camel. The creature was adorned with colored cloths and normal riding gear, but also something else. The ghastly skeleton of a man was strapped to its back. Again, that's our story, but it's insane and it keeps going. So apparently, camels, and I had no idea about this. Camels were brought across the ocean and into the southwest arid regions of the U.S. during these years prior to the event. They were seen as a better fitting animal, pack animal to the region than horses. But once the railroads came in, they became largely useless as pack animals. So for a time, there were actually just wild camel packs and wild camels actually wandering the southwest of the U.S. After that, because once the trains come in, they had no further use for them, so they just released them into the wild. Now, no one will ever know why the corpse was actually strapped to the back of the camel, but the witnesses report the body was so tightly bound to the animal, that the creature may have been in constant pain, and perhaps the dying human on its back, just possibly drove it mad. It is possible the rider could have been strapped to the creature and left to die by bandits or someone else. Honestly, I mean, obviously, we will never know. That's where the story kind of ends and peters off. Um, maybe that wasn't the real animal. I mean, you got to chalk something up to, fear and all of that. But also, when people claim to see like claim to see these creatures, I've stated in multiple episodes before, I do believe them more, especially if they're from a region that is unpopulated. The Amazon, jungle tribes, African tribes, Aborigines, that kind of thing. If they see a creature, I firmly believe that they more than likely saw what they said that they saw. That's a tongue twister. Because they're used to it. They're used to the surroundings. They know the animals that are in their area. Settlers, everything is so religiously pushed at this time during this situation that, of course, anything you see that's not within your normal everyday line of work or life is an omen, or it could be something sent by the devil. It could be any number of things. So more than likely, this is the true ending for the Red Ghost, and it hasn't been reported since then, as far as I could find. So, sadly, that's probably the end. But maybe it's not. Maybe there's some 30-foot tall phantom winged, dragon or something with a demon riding it. Just somewhere in Arizona. Now, I will point out that Arizona today, especially today, is known as a hotspot for paranormal activity. So take that as you will. I'm just going to leave that out there. Maybe. Maybe there is something. But that's our main story for today. Other than that, I really just hope everybody's doing well during this pandemic or whatever you're going to call it. I'm not going to get political. I'm going to try to stay out of that ring and not talk about the virus and the masks and the mandates and all that stuff. I probably will. I know I'm sure I've mentioned or had an episode or two where cashless society stuff has come up, and that honestly to me is scarier than the pandemic right now because I guess I'm going to get into it. The pandemic right now is clearly just lies, and all of these deaths are actual, probably actual deaths, but the numbers saying they're from COVID are completely false. You've got people sending in my area as well. Like I've heard from local people that nurses are opening tests, sealing tests, sending them in. They're coming back positive. You've got people that their businesses are being tested as a group. They refuse to test, and they get a call the day later saying that their test came back positive, even though they didn't take the test. You know, so whatever. Again, I'm not going to get too much into that. I don't need my channel wiped from YouTube for spreading the truth. Even though that's what I try to do, but not the truth that the powers that be would enjoy for that one. But with the masks and everything, I mean, we just saw freaking. I can't stand Fauci, but Dr. Fauci at the baseball game sitting next to two people, no social distancing, not wearing a mask. You can't make this up. It's just that horrible. But I hope everybody's doing okay. This, if you don't know anything about the cashless society, or cashless society and the theories behind that and where we're going, because I didn't see that coming. Honestly, that's on me 100%. Usually, I'm pretty good about seeing through their crap, but cashless hasn't been talked about for a few years, and then all of a sudden they just boom, they just drop it. This imaginary coin shortage, all this stuff, and I'm stating right now on this episode, I feel like that by Black Friday, we should be cashless because I feel like we're gonna go into this whole thing in November. No one knows what's going on in November because the election, and come Black Friday, and the splurge of cash that's being spent, they're gonna tell us that cash is spreading the virus too fast. We need to eliminate it. We need to just use our cards, etc. Once you have a card, and this is probably dramatic, of course, but nowadays, hell, you don't know what's dramatic or not. We could go complete full martial law lockdown tomorrow, and it would make sense. So But cashless basically leads us to doing, we wouldn't be allowed to have more than $20 or so in our pockets, no cash transactions. And you've seen that for years. Go try to buy a house with cash right now from a bank. Go try to put a down payment on a house with cash. You can't do it. Impossible. They won't let you. Um, I mean, they need track and trace evidence for any money that the bank receives for a house. I mean, they treat you like a criminal. I mean, it's honestly sad. But again, we'll go cashless. We'll have maybe a $20 to $50 limit of actual cash. So we're going to lose any kind of peer-to-peer transactions, and everything that we have will be tracked and traced. We'll be using our cards. We don't have to argue about the mark of the beast or none of that because it's already here. If you think the mark of the beast is taking a chip, then it's on your bank card already, and you've already got it. I mean, face it, if as sad as it is, if you're on the good side of things or even attempting to be on the good side of things, more than likely we lost. We lost a long time ago. One of the laws that Trump has, I don't know if he signed it or not. I try to stay out of the politics lately because honestly it's too much to handle. But there's an insurrection law that they were going to talk about signing, and that'll put National Guard troops like in the streets and basically martial law light, like it's a martial law, precursor. So that law is from 1807. We founded the country and took it back and made it what it was in 1776. 1807, they outlawed anyone ever doing that again. That's how fast that we lost this country. That the normal people lost America. 1776 to 1807. Once the insurrection law went in place, the military can be used to run you out, run you down, murder you, kill you, whatever they need to do. So yeah, I know I went 5 extra minutes on that today, but some stuff just needs to be talked about. Some people just need to be made aware. Um, I know everyone in the conspiracy community wants to say stay woke, be awake, but it's so much more than that. I mean, you have to be able to see what's really going on. I know it's like a Matrix pun, but it is. I mean, it's sleight of hand. Everything that politicians and um, all those in charge, all that they do, it's all sleight of hand. It's all very arcane style, ritualistic stuff. For instance, the Wayfair scandal, and for like 3 days, child trafficking was a huge issue, and people were up in arms, and we were ready to go tear it down. And then, like Will Smith and Jada had to go on camera talking about how they have relationship issues, and then it's gone. And no one on Facebook right now, if you scroll through, is saying anything about Wayfair or child trafficking. It's just like that. It's it's evil. It's more arcane and ritualistic than people think, and it's a sad, sad damn truth. But you know, I don't know what else I could tell you. I hate to leave episodes on a downer. I feel like we do have hope, but hope would take all of us. It would take massive amounts of people not fighting against each other, but fighting against what really needs to be fought against. You can listen to the TV and fight against your brother, or you can really do something that matters. So until millions and millions of people are ready to come to that conclusion, then I don't know what we're going to do. But stay safe, protect your own, protect your family, do the best you can, and we'll just all hope for the best. But there you go. I left it on a little bit of an up note. But anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Throw a like on it. Don't get a whole lot of love on this channel, but that's on me for not doing as much during the pandemic as I could. So again, I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Like it, subscribe it, share it. We'll catch you on the next episode.